Get started here in just a minute. I'm just going to ask if you could go ahead and review the minutes from our last SHAC meeting. And then when we have our motions made today, if you could just state your name, as we have a new recorder this time. Okay, we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 11. Okay, hold on. Do we need to make notation or anything? Okay. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 11:43. And I want to welcome everybody to the first SHAC meeting of this new school year. Let's see. So, as I asked, I'm going to ask you to review, and we're going to approve the minutes. And who's going to make the ginger? Okay.
At the end of last year, one of the items that we voted on was the opt-in versus opt-out, as the law, if the law allowed us to change. So over the summer, we learned that it did not. TEA is going to, even though the law expired, TEA is going to still hold us to that standard, that it is still an opt-in for anything to speak about sexual abstinence. So the bullet, that's where we were having a little confusion. So the bullet under counseling update, discussion regarding changing sexual health, the committee, our SHAC committee voted that if law would allow, that we were going to go back to opt-out. The law did not change. It is still opt-in. So, is that?
I think that, unless you have any questions about that, the minutes are accurate, but we wanted to make that explanation.
That it will still be opt-in. So,
Unfortunately.
I know.
Unfortunately. Okay, so any questions or anything on that? Okay, and can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
Okay, Lissa approves the minutes. Do I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Bo, we're gonna have to get, y'all, I'm horrible at remembering names myself at times, but since we do have a new recorder, if y'all will just state your names when y'all do that. Okay, all right. So do we have any new people with us today? Okay. So I'm going to put everybody on the spot. I'm just going to ask you to stand and tell us. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't finish the vote. Let me finish that first. I apologize. Getting out of the habit of things again. Okay. So we have a motion and we have a second. Can I get an all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. So motion passed. Okay. All right, so I'm going to ask our new people if they don't mind standing, letting us know who you are and who you represent. Go first.
Ben Bridges, I'm assistant principal at Finley Junior High.
Welcome.
I'm Sasha Dennings, I'm a social work intern, so.
With first, okay, awesome. Thank you for being here.
Anna Enriquez, care coordinator for North Texas Behavioral.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Here. Okay. If you don't mind speaking up just a little bit.
Kenny Scott from Marvin.
Yay. Awesome.
Danielle Melton, Simpson.
Okay.
Hillary Zan, Ramsey.
Okay.
Murray Richter with the Waxahachie YMCA.
Okay. Awesome. Thank y'all for being here. We appreciate you coming and being a part of the program today. Okay. So let me get back to.
Derek Zan, principal of Global High School.
Okay.
And Mr. Rogers, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Back row. Ron Rollins, new executive director of athletics.
Okay, awesome. Thank y'all so much. Well, for those that don't know, I'm Sherry Phillips. I am the chair for the SHAC committee for another year, and happy to be able to be a part of that. I also represent Reach Council Prevention Services. And so since Reach is the first one on the agenda, I'm going to ask Tom if he doesn't mind coming and sharing what Reach has going on.
Hello, so I'm Tom Kowach. I coordinate a lot of the school programs for REACH. Just so you know, when we talk about any REACH programs, those are all free programs. That could be presentations, curriculums. We have our youth recovery program. We have our Tobacco Youth Coalition program. So lots of different programs out there. If you're interested in learning more about those, please contact myself or Sherry, and we can make sure either I'm the right person to talk to, or we can get you to that specific program to get you the information you need. We do have Red Ribbon Week coming up, and I know that's a thing that I've been in communication with a number of the counselors and campuses. So thank you for communicating with me. We do our best to fill all those, but we probably get over 100 requests for October. And we're a pretty small agency, so we do our best to accommodate all those. So just so you know, if for some reason we can't fit you in during Red Ribbon Week or even October, we do presentations and curriculums all year. So don't think that it has to just be limited to during that time. But if you are wanting to get any more requests for bracelets and things like that for Red Ribbon Week, tomorrow is the last day for that, so please submit those requests. I think I sent out another round of emails as a reminder, but if you need that information, please let me know, and I'm happy to pass that on. But otherwise, yeah, just let me know if you have any questions for me or need clarification in any of the presentations or subjects that we cover. We're happy to share all that information. Thank you.
And just a note for our counselors that are here that we're going to get those together, and I'm going to drop them off to Ginger at the counselors meeting in October, so you'll be able to pick them up there. The other thing that I would like to share for REACH, one of our programs that we do biannually is the prescription drug take-back event. So it's that time again, clean out your medicine cabinets of any expired or unused medications for safe disposal. We're going to be doing the DEA Drug Take Back Day is Saturday, October the 26th. We're going to set up with the Waxahachie Police Department at the Colburn Junior High from 10 to 2. So I encourage you to come by, drop off your medications, and we will get those safely disposed with the DEA. If there's any questions on that, just please feel free to reach out to me.
What are the hours on that?
From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And if for some reason that you happen to miss, the take back day, just remember that there is a permanent drug disposal box at the Waxahachie Police Department, and some of our pharmacies in town now also have that available for their customers. But just remember, don't flush your medications or just throw them in the trash, because it does get into our water supply. REACH also carries the doTERRA bags, which is the single-use disposal, so it's a little packet that you put your medication in. It holds like 45 pills, 6 ounces or liquids or patches, You just add it with water to the fill line. It's charcoal-based, so it deactivates your medications. And then it's biodegradable, so it's safe to actually throw in the trash. So if any of our school nurses or anything like that might need any of the little disposal bags, we'll have those available at Reach, so just let us know.
Okay, we probably do.
Okay?
And I have another question. I think I've asked you this before, but we have a lot of expired EpiPens. I'm assuming you still can't take those?
Unfortunately not.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
They limit us, anything that has needle, sharps,
Nothing like that. Okay, all right.
unfortunately not. I will say too, if you have vape pens, that they actually will accept vape pens if the batteries are not able to be removed. They can put the whole thing in. Otherwise, the batteries have to be removed. But they are accepting vape pens as well. Okay. And thank you, Coleman Junior High, for allowing us the parking lot use of your facility. That is all that I have for Reach. Let me share one other good news. We did start a new grant cycle, and Reach Council actually received a community grant, or community coalition grant for Ellis County. We, of course, have already been doing a lot of work in Ellis County, but we are going to have a lot of focus on some of our more rural communities as well. But we'd love to have you come and be a part of it. We'll have the prom pop-up event that's going to be coming up in February. I'll have more information to come out on that, but we could really use community volunteers to come help these young men and young ladies from across our districts to help find, prom attire. We have suits, shoes, jewelry that the kids get to come in. They get to experience a little education piece that we have a lot of our community partners, NIPA being one that's been a great help to us. We have Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. AgriLife is going to help us this year, as well as the Heights, I believe, are going to also assist. So we could really use some community partners to come out and assist with that. If you're interested, please reach out to me on that. We'll probably start meeting on it in January. Okay, so the next item up on the updates is going to be the WISD counseling update with Ginger.
Ginger's having technical things that she needs to deal with. So LT, would you mind going next?
Okay. So we've got the WISD security update with Lieutenant Christopher Dickinson.
Just tell me how much time I need to kill.
I don't have a lot. Well, hello, everyone. For the new ones, I'm Lieutenant Dickinson. I oversee the security department here. Can you hear me okay? I talk loud anyways. We've had a great start to the year. I don't want to jinx it by saying that out loud, but I probably just did. I think genuinely the kids are feeling safe. By happenstance, we did metal detectors this morning, as well as the dogs at all the junior highs. No findings at any of that. I mean, that's pretty stellar. We did have, a rough couple weeks, about a week ago, where we had some threats. That was nationwide. I think that might have affected a little bit of, mental health of our students. But we didn't do any kind of formal survey, but informally just asking, hey, do you feel unsafe at school? Maybe, I wouldn't put a percentage because I'm guessing, but if I was going to propose a percentage, I'd say 99% said, yeah, we feel safe. We think that wouldn't happen here, that we're good. And, the good part of that is we had a lot of our own students reaching out to us, to teachers, principals, saying, hey, I'm seeing these threats. I want y'all to know about them. And they took it serious. Like, we take them all serious. And as you know, nothing happened. So I think the students feel genuinely safe. We do still have the vape problem. I don't think that's ever going to go away, but it hasn't been so bad this year yet. I think, in all reality, it will be. We're going to have plenty of vapes to deal with. Other than that, that's really all we got going so far. I mean, generally we're safe. We're good. I think the kids feel safe. I think the staff feels safe. And that's what we're striving for. Is that enough time, or do you keep talking?
Would you maybe share a little bit with this particular group about the cyber threat? Is that too extreme? But what happened a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get down in the weeds with it, but I'll give you a quick overview, and probably most of you are aware of it. There was some threats that were sent out via social media, and they were reshared. It all went through Snapchat. Shared. It ended up, I mean, we had that shooting in Georgia. It's been about a month now. Anytime we have some kind of school shooting, we always see this on the backside of kids think it's funny to send this stuff out. It is not funny. In fact, to the point that there was 2 arrests made for some of these threats. That's how not funny it is. And we continue to take a stance here. If there's a criminal charge, I'm going to charge it every single time because it's not funny. It ties up a lot of resources, and it's just we don't need that nonsense. The threats basically just said, and I'm going to summarize, it was a map, it had some cities, and Hatchie was on the list, get ready. And that was reshared. Every time it's reshared, somebody else puts some more words, all right? And then we got to a point where they gave us a time, 3:30 p.m. On like Wednesday. Well, only the high school is in session at 3:30 p.m., right? So the junior highs are already out. But we tracked it down. It wasn't even here. It just got reshared to here. And it was national. It was not just Texas. It was across the country. That one little threat just grew legs and took off. That's not uncommon. It's not going to be the last one we have this year. We had them last year. We take them all serious regardless. I've got really to a point I can look at them and go, that's not going to be local. You can look at certain things and see that's not a local threat. That came from somewhere else. But the kids think it's funny. And that's where we can get into trouble real quick with our own kids, is they take that threat that they're seeing, then they reshare it and add some stuff to it, and now they're looking at criminal charges for something they didn't even start. They're just being silly about it. But it's serious. It's a terroristic threat, and we're not going to play around with it anymore. Not that we ever have, but it's to a point now. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Is it possible to teach our kids that, or is that a parenting issue? Like, do we need to tell the kids, like, if you are sharing something, now you've become involved in it? Can we educate them?
I mean, all things are possible. We've said it. I think a lot of it is a parenting issue.
Are we sending it out to kids?
Yes.
Like a flyer or
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
promo of some kind?
Every time this happens and we send something out to parents, we have started including something that says, please talk to your children about how serious this is.
But ultimately, it's really a parenting thing.
It is. Ultimately, it's a juvenile thing, right? Take responsibility for your own actions. But yes, parents need to be aware of what their kids are doing. Sad reality is we know most parents, well, I wouldn't say most, a lot of parents have no clue what their kids are doing on the social media. And those are the ones that I interact with more frequently. It's vital that parents know what you're doing and why. But yeah, we push that from the district. I know from the police department, we push that out to any groups we can. Officer Taylor, who's our community service guy, is always preaching that wherever he goes. Stop doing that. It's not going to stop. I mean, we can hope for the best, but it's not going to stop. Is that enough time? All right.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, so now we're going to do the WISD counseling update with Ginger Robinson. Are you sitting or are you sitting?
Both. We'll do both. A little bit of both. So my name is Ginger Robinson. I'm the Director of Educational Support and Counseling for the school district. And this year, I am so excited to let you all know that we have hired a coordinator of mental health for the school district, mental health and counseling services. Her name is Monica Taylor. She's been a long-standing SHAC committee member for a long time, so. She has assumed that role to really help us take on a lot of our general education student population needs for behavior and mental health services. We are able to provide those services through our special education program for our students, but we need something for our gen ed kiddos. And so Monica hit the ground running, needless to say, dealing with our students. We're really focusing this year on our Tier 1 classroom interventions at our elementary school level. Our goal is to expand that, but we had to have a focal point. In that, we took on 2 of our schools to pilot an SEL, a social emotional learning program called Choose Love. And we have implemented those at Dunaway Elementary and at Clift Elementary. And with next year, we will expand that into the rest of our elementary campuses. So those 2 campuses are piloting those. We're collecting a lot of behavioral data from those campuses that we'll be able to share with the SHAC throughout this year, so that we want to be able to show how implementing a social emotional program into the classroom settings and across the campus can help change that culture and climate of that campus, so that we can see our behaviors reduce. That's really where our focus is with our Tier 1 kiddos this year. So I'm gonna let Monica now come up and kind of talk a little bit more in depth. Oh, yeah, you do that, and then I'll finish. You go ahead.
What do you want to go? All right, hi, for those of you who I don't know, she's Monica Taylor. I've actually been in district for 15, this is my 16th year. I was at Shackelford Elementary, and then Felty, and then at Coleman. So I have been a campus counselor in district. The role of coordinator of mental health includes a lot of things, including crisis counselors. So I do go to campuses and respond to crises, and I do go out and work with campuses and behavior consultations, normally like you would see, with the behavior specialist going out and talking about specific situations and giving intervention ideas, everything from building resources to the campus and presentations, to actually helping them design like a small group for students. But as Ginger said, one of the things we really wanted to focus on this year was Tier 1, because we know that we need to meet students' needs at the beginning. And if we can do that, then we're setting them up for better success academically, socially, and all the areas. And as we started looking at different SEL programs, what was important to us was to find good mental health research-based, just what we know to be best practices as a success in life. And so we feel like we found that. The first program that is really being utilized in K through 5, and once again, we have 2 campuses, Dunaway and Clift, that are piloting those, but lots of our other campuses are introducing the concept, is called Choose Love. Choose Love is based on research and information that came from an individual who lost her child in Sandy Hook. And she said, that is never going to happen again to any other parent. I'm going to make sure. And so the neat thing about this program, it is not based on Sandy Hook. They don't even mention the student in the program. They looked at, what did these children need? What should have happened to prevent this? What can we teach children? And so the basis of this program is a lot of conflict resolution. It's teaching children how to stop and choose to love themselves and others. We've had some, if you ever get to go on a Friday morning to one of those campuses, please do. I got to go to a rally this morning. It was super fun. And you're constantly hearing those words, and Dunaway has a really cute chant they're doing. It's just precious. So we're seeing a lot of success with this, and a lot of the campuses are using it. And then on the next slide, it's up there. For those of you who have been in district for a while, you've probably heard of Kelso's Choices. This is the one SEL program that we have really kept in, because it really goes with Choose Love, and it teaches our students what to do when they're feeling overwhelmed. Like, you can choose one of these choices to help yourself. Okay, and I want to mention that because it does work so well with Choose Love. It really builds a mental framework for students. But then what we've now introduced this year at junior high and high school is Sources of Strength. It's basically the older version of Kelso's Choices. So what it says is, you are not alone. You can have hope. It's okay not to be okay. And when you're not okay, what do? How do you get help? You turn to one of these sources of strength in your life. And so what they have decided to do is all 3 junior highs are collaborated together, and they've built out a lesson sequence. They're going to be pushing out the same lessons every week. They're going to talk about each one of these areas. What is a source of strength? Now let's talk about some specific ones. Now, how can you access that in your life? So really, in a nutshell, this is bullying prevention. This is suicide prevention. All of those things, it really, because if you are connected, then you're more likely to get help. If you get help, then we're more likely to avoid the more serious issues because we have a community and a support system. And I think we could all agree with that. The really neat thing about this was we did our initial training the last 2 days, and it was so fun. We had 175 junior high and high school students and staff participate, and these kids are on fire. I've already got an appointment with some of them on Monday morning because they want to start a podcast. So I'm coming to you, Ms. Bridges, next week because they want to start a podcast to push it out. The high school students are talking about having a physical health day. The junior, I mean, they are ready to go. And that cute picture, let me see that one at the very bottom. That's the high school students having story time on the floor. It was, and they're dressed as minions. So the kids took this and ran with it, and the comment I kept hearing from them was, everybody needs to know this. How do we tell other kids? How do we let them know? So we're very excited. They're very passionate about it. And the bottom line is, with the research, this is a very research-based program. And when you look at their data, they tracked high schools, and they look for the kids who are the bridges between social groups. They look for the kids who are isolated. They look for those characteristics and see how can we bring students that have no connection into connection, because that's what it's all about. And with all the schools they've tracked through the last 20 years, every single one has increased their connections, and so that's what we like to see. So, do you have any questions about any of those programs? Okay.
So we are super excited to be able to, as throughout SHAC, throughout this year, we'll be able to report more. We'll bring some videos from some of our Choose Love rallies that they're having on our campuses. When you can shift the culture and the climate to be positive and supportive for our students, it allows them to grow in all areas, including academics. So that's really what we're trying to show through these programs, is how strong we can make our students and how proud, and then they want to perform better in the classroom and throughout the community. So we'll bring more of that throughout the year. So that's our Tier 1. Our Tier 2 and Tier 3s have not changed from what you guys know from previous years. If you've been on SHAC, for those who haven't, I will let you know. So we currently have mental health licensed counselors that come into our schools. They are on all of our elementary and junior high and high school campuses. We partner with Next Step Counseling. They are they're a resource out of Tyler, Texas, and they come into our schools. We have 1 day a week at every elementary, 2 days a week at our junior highs and global, and then 5 days a week we have a licensed therapist at the high school. We as school counselors make referrals to Next Step for needing that. We have our students who need a higher level of care, and then they reach out to the parents, they receive permission, and then our students go through anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks of therapy with a licensed therapist, depending on what their evaluation and what their needs are. It's no cost to the students, and we're able to schedule around their classes so that they're not being pulled from core classes. So we're basically offering, they are having their mental health sessions that they would have to would to go check out a school, go have their therapy session, and then come back. We offer that free to our students. And then we also are still partnering with Mind Above Matter. Mind Above Matter is our intensive outpatient treatment program. We offer that at, it is currently housed at Coleman Junior High. It starts at 2:30 in the afternoon, so our students who need a very intensive level of care are able to complete their school day, and then they travel. Our transportation department is so gracious that they pick them up across their junior high and other high school campuses and take them to Coleman. They start programming at 2:30. And it goes from anywhere from 5:30 to 6, depending on their level of care that they need as well. We service 10 students at a time in intensive treatment. Currently, we have 8. So we have students coming down the pipeline. So it's a much needed service that nowhere in Ellis County do we have a mental health facility for our students. And it's a blessing that we can offer that to our students. They're not having to withdraw from school to get the type of intensive treatment that they need. So we offer that here as well. And we work with REACH Council as well. We've got some great things that on the forefront we are going to start incorporating some small groups with our, what's that, tell me the program that, yes, YRC. Youth Recovery Community, and they will be coming in and working with our students who are recovering or are, it's recovery.
Or if they're even just
Struggling or recovering with alcohol or drug addiction. So they'll be working in our schools with those as well. So, yeah. Any questions? I'll have more as we go throughout the year. Yeah. Okay.
Let's go ahead with Rebecca, if that's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to kind of shift things just a little bit. We're going to go ahead and ask Rebecca Lockridge to come up. She's going to share the community involvement update.
I knew I was going to do that. Hi, everybody. So I am Rebecca Lockridge. Everybody should know me as Becca. I have been with the district for 9 months, so I'm still relatively new. So if you haven't seen me at a SHAC meeting yet, that's why. So I am the community outreach coordinator, and some things that have been happening and that we're moving into. So to kick off the school year, we had really great partnerships across the community for both our Back to School Bash, which happened down at Rail Yard Park. I know that several people in this room, either you or members of your organization or your business, were there supporting us in that, so thank you. It was the biggest turnout that we've had so far. We were just shy of 3,000 individuals that came, and the average length of time that people stayed was 90 minutes. So that's a really good representation of just how impactful that particular program was. And then our Operation First Day, it was a wonderful event. We we distributed more than 1,500 backpacks this year. But it wasn't just backpacks. We partnered with multiple, I think we had 6 different nonprofits. Hope Health was there, Parkland was there, North Texas Behavioral was there, Chase's World, which is a nonprofit that focuses in on autism care for the individual and family. There were some really great resources there. We had transportation there to help make sure that students that needed bus transportation to and from school had that readily available to them. We had technology there to be able to help finish those individuals who maybe don't have access to register for school. They had the accessibility. CTE was very gracious in letting us host at the high school to be able to utilize that space. And so we had licensed cosmetologists and barberists that came and provided haircuts for more than 60 students within our community. And we distributed, in partnership with Manna House in Midlothian, we distributed 17,000 pounds of food to our students and families as well. So it was a huge event and quite the undertaking. And so thank you, Jenny, and all of the rest of the team that worked on that event. It was amazing to just kind of see what we were able to do and give back to our students and their families in that way.
I want to comment your volunteer group that was there that day that brought everybody around to the tables. They were amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. We did that a little bit differently. So since we had so many stops along the way for our families, instead of it being a drive-through event like we've done it in years past, or instead of it just being backpacks, since there were so many stops, we asked that our volunteers kind of served as family guides. So each family was assigned a volunteer, and that volunteer interacted with them and took them around to go and visit with the different booths and the different stations. We also had family portraits. So some of these individuals might not have ever had a professional family portrait done. So we were able to provide that resource as well. So it was fun. It was a good one. So let's see, back to school bash, Operation First Day. Lighthouse for Learning is coming back. I had a goal to have it start this fall, but that was, I don't think, the most realistic goal. So we are aiming to have Lighthouse for Learning start back in the spring. So if you have ideas, or if you would like to partner with us to provide programming, I am so open to having that conversation. I would love to be able to have some of our local partners and nonprofits and even for-profit businesses or individuals that might have a specific or unique craft or ability that you want to be able to share that with the community. I would love to be able to make that happen. I'm looking to have a really great mix between free, low cost, and then moderate cost courses to be offered within Lighthouse. And I am also exploring, I've spoken with Ryan, exploring the option of being able to offset costs of some of those higher priced courses by offering a scholarship program in some way. So I'm trying to figure out the details on that, but I would love to be able to offer some community education courses that are more than just like needlepoint and bird watching and things like that. I would like to have some other things like substance abuse and awareness and how to identify, different things that you might find in your teen's bedroom. I don't know. I'm just spitballing ideas. But if you guys can think of anything or would like to be involved, please let me know. I would love to be able to partner. And then I've been working with Monica and Ginger for something called Sacks of Snacks. It's in partnership with Unite Ellis. So with our local churches and some community business partners, we're working to ensure that each one of our schools is provided at elementaries with a sack of snacks for our students that are food insecure to be able to take home over the weekend. We have all but 3, is that right? 3 campuses? 2, okay. We have all but 2 of our campuses covered with community partners to be able to make that happen. And so we are almost there, but we've got it set up to where at elementary they will get a sack to take home over the weekend to ensure that they are fed. And then at junior highs, similar. And then at the high school campuses, we'll have a food pantry that students are able to visit to make sure that the most basic need of being fed is being met there on those campuses. So I'm still trying to recruit partners for that. It's a huge undertaking, and it's a huge financial ask for our partners. Some campuses may only have the need for 8 to 10 students, but each sack averages just under $10. So for that campus that may only have 8 students that are most in need, it's only $80 a week. But then you have other campuses that may have 35 to 40 students. So it's quite a substantial ask because it's a weekly basis. So we are still looking, but if you happen to know any grant programs or if you know of any churches or businesses or organizations, just let me know the contact information. I'm happy to reach out or ask one of the ladies to reach out as well. And then I felt like there was one other thing. That's all I can think of right now. So lots of stuff going on, but I'm super excited to, I know what it was. It was Raptor. So I'm also working with Lissa and Lieutenant Dickinson with safety and security stuff. So as you know, all of our volunteers within Waxahachie ISD are required to submit to and complete or pass a criminal background check. So we do have a system in place. Previously, it was called Relatrix. And we had, as a visitor or a volunteer would come onto campus, they would have to present their ID, and they would be checked through the Raptor system by dropping the ID, and it would check sexual criminal history, right? So sex offender registries, essentially. And then if you were going to volunteer, you had to complete a different background check and be passed, and then they would still have you drop your ID for Raptor as well when you came onto campus. So 2 different systems doing a similar thing. It didn't make a lot of sense. So we've kind of streamlined it, and now we have Raptor, who's taking care of the volunteer criminal background check history, as well as the sex offender registry history, and it hits on all of that through one system. So they still have to complete a more extensive application process if individuals would like to volunteer on our campus, but it's all encompassed within Raptor now instead of Raptor and Relatrix. We're working on, or we are about to start working on putting together kind of a best practice or administrative guideline for the usage of Raptor, and just to make sure that we have the highest level of safety and security for our students, and we utilize the product in the most effective way. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Becca.
Thank you.
All right, a lot of good things going on. Okay, so now we have the WISD Health Update with Melissa Bousquet.
For those of you that don't know me, I'm Melissa Bousquet, and I'm just so happy that you are all on our committee. Welcome to the new people, and welcome back to our former people. I don't want to say old people. I'm getting really sensitive about that right now. Yeah, our veterans, thank you. I like that. That's good. But thank you for being here. I know it's a sacrifice, and we appreciate that more than you know. We are just starting out the year with our kiddos, and I sit there and I listen to Ginger and to Monica and to all their mental health updates and all the pouring in that they are doing for our kiddos' mental health. And I just have to sit there and think about how much my nurses see in their clinics that are as a result of mental health issues. It's there's some just purely physical issues. I'm not going to say that, like diabetes or asthma or whatever, but we have so many kiddos that are suffering physically because of their mental health not being what it needs to be. So I'm so thankful that that program is in, or those many programs are in place, and it helps our nurses too, just because it helps them to kind of know that there are resources out there for their kids. So that's a great thing. And also want to say to Rebecca, thank you, Rebecca and Jenny, for Operation First Day of School. That was amazing. I got to be one of the people that was in the haircut room. So I got to see all those kids' faces and those proud parent faces when their handsome and pretty little children came walking out of those haircuts. So it was a blessing to me just to watch that. So that was amazing. We have completed or almost completed our employee flu clinics for the year. HEB partners with us each year, and they come to campuses to give flu shots to our employees that want to receive them. And so that's a service that we offer every year, and I just want you guys to know that we are doing that. We're trying to keep our employees as healthy as possible as well. As far as COVID goes, the only real update I have for that is that no longer do we have to make weekly COVID reports to the state. So I feel like that is real progress. This year, they're only requiring a report if there's an outbreak, and there's real specific criteria for what an outbreak is. Hopefully, we won't meet that criteria and we won't have to do it. But I feel like we're getting past all this. COVID is just going to be considered another viral illness, and that we'll all hopefully just be able to weather that storm. So I'm very thankful for that. We did have a little bit of an uptick in cases when school first started. I really think it started right before school started even. But it seems to have settled down and kind of played out a little bit, and we're back to our semi-normal state. So that's good. I wish we could just forget it ever existed. I would like to go there. As far as drug testing goes, we are on our way. We have our first session coming up for our junior highs and our high school kiddos. For those of you that don't know, we drug test kiddos in the 7th grade to the 12th grade that are involved in any extracurricular, UIL, anything that's not totally classroom related, any participatory activities that they have. They are in our drug testing pool. We do not drug test everybody. We just do a random selection each month of certain at each school, our 3 junior highs and our 2 high schools. So we're almost there, ready to get that going, and that's going well. Yes, I want to remind you, we were doing a 10 substance panel this last couple of years, 2 or 3 years. And we just really weren't picking up anything from that. So we voted at our last meeting to go back to a 5-panel test. 90% probably of what we get is marijuana. So that's good news in that we're not getting a lot of other substances. Occasionally I'll get amphetamine, but it's almost always related to ADHD medication, so that's a net negative. But we're going back to the 5-panel, just a reminder, and that will be starting soon, okay? One more thing I wanted to make you guys aware of. I'm sure most of you know that school districts across the state are really having to tighten their belts budgetary wise. So one of the things, we formed a committee in our district to look at certain areas where we could save money and tighten our belts and just be better stewards of what we have, since that amount is actually going down. So one of the areas that was highlighted was feeding people at meetings. So I just want you guys to know moving forward that we are going to do our best to get our meals sponsored each time. We have 4 more on the schedule. We would like to get it sponsored, and we've reached out to some community partners, and I feel pretty confident that will happen. But if some reason I know there's not going to be food at a meeting, I will be sure and let you guys know so we can all brown bag it on that day. But I don't anticipate that happening. But I did want to make you aware of the change there, okay? And as far as today's meal goes, thank you to the Child Nutrition Department. They provided food for us, and this is one of my favorite things they do. So can you tell that? I always want that on the first meeting. All right, so does anybody have any health-related questions before I go into our next thing? Any drug testing? Okay, all right, well, if you were able to pick up the handout that I provided on the table out here, this is part of our FFA local policy on health and wellness. TASB, the Texas Association of School Boards, provides assistance to school districts to make sure their policies align with what they're doing. So they made some recommendations about our health and wellness policy, our board policy, that we minimize what we put in there so we can make sure that we don't get dinged on anything. Now, it doesn't mean that we're not doing the other things, the other goals that are listed in there. It doesn't mean that we're not working towards those goals. It just means, as far as the official policy goes, we are minimizing it. We're taking several things out. So if I could direct you to page 2. As you can see in the section under the wellness goals, we have, for nutrition promotion, we have taken out 2 goals, and we're just going with goal number 1. And I'll read that right quick. The district shall share educational and nutritional information with families and the general public to promote healthy nutritional choices and positively influence the health of students. So that is the goal that we're keeping, and the other 2 we're taking out. And then just below that, it says the goals for nutrition education. We are taking 1 and 2 out, and we are going with that 3rd goal. And it's the district shall provide professional development so that teachers and other staff responsible for the nutrition education program are adequately prepared to effectively deliver the program. And a lot of this is going to be tied to our CATCH program that we're hopefully very soon going to implement in our district. We will make sure that the staff get trained on that program so that we can meet that goal. And then under physical activity, we are doing away with goal 1, 3, 4, and 5, and we are keeping number 2, and we're not doing away with 5, we're keeping number 5. The district shall make appropriate before school and after school physical activity programs available and shall encourage students to participate. That's the first one. And the second is the district shall encourage students, parents, staff, and community members to use the district's recreational facilities such as tracks, playgrounds, and the like that are available outside of the school day. So those are the 2 goals we're keeping in that section. And then under other school-based activities, we're taking out goal number 1 and then keeping number 2, which is the district shall promote wellness for students and their families at suitable district and campus activities. So, and also it says the SHAC coordinator shall oversee this. That's been changed to the superintendent. Just so you know, we did have a committee form out of SHAC to look at all this, and then that committee met with the TASB representative who made the recommendations and helped us talk through how we got to the goals that we kept. So, so a subcommittee of SHAC did look at this and did come to these conclusions. What I would like to do is open it up for discussion, see if you have any questions about it. This is board policy. I know it's kind of in the weeds a little bit, but we wanted to make sure that we got SHAC's stamp of approval before this went to the board. Any questions?
Hey, Melissa.
Yes.
Just to clarify that by removing those goals out of this recommendation to the board for local policy doesn't mean that we can't do them. They're still in our regulation. We still are actively working towards them and doing them, but it does mean that by removing them out of board policy, that we're not getting dinged for not having them already done at that moment. And so that's the only distinction that we would make is in talking with, and I was on that phone call on Monday and talking with the TASB rep, her recommendation was keep doing them, keep striving to achieve those goals that you had in here, but if it's in policy, then you're not compliant with your policy on day 1 if you don't have all of these boxes checked. And so that was the whole purpose in going in and trying to remove the things we're still working on and not quite there with, so we can be compliant with policy, but we can still work on that. We could always add them later when we're compliant with it if we want to, further strengthen our policy, but right now we're just not compliant with board policy.
He explained that so much better than I did. And an example would be, say, we wanted to display nutritional information in every classroom. Well, it's hard then who's going to oversee going around to every classroom in the district to make sure it's displayed? it's a lot of things that logistically are hard. So you do just a very short general policy, and then, just like he said, that does not mean we're not striving to do those other things as well. We just don't want some sort of auditor to come in and ding us that, every one of those classrooms doesn't have that poster up. So that's kind of where it's coming from. Any other questions or explanations? Anybody else? Okay, would anybody like to make a motion that we accept the changes to the board policy? Okay, and state.
DINGAOCHIN.
I can help you with that later. Okay. It's not John Smith. Okay, all right. We've got a motion. Do I see a second?
Second.
Kim Bridgers.
All right. So we have a motion and a second. So are we all in favor? Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so move. We're good. Okay. Well, thank you all for being here today. We appreciate your time. Make a note that the next meeting is going to be November the 7th, and Melissa will be sending out those calendar invites if you have not already gotten those. And again, thank you so very much. Oh, and a motion to dismiss. Thank you so much. We are motion to dismiss at 12:36. Do I have a motion? Jeannie Bridges. Second? State your... Okay. All in favor? All right. Thank you. Y'all have a great day.